After a long time, welcome to a new episode of Language Showcase, where we look at Kokanu today. Most languages are invented by one person. Esperanto came from Zamenhof, Tokipona came from Sonja Lang, even Klingon had a single creator. But Kokanu is different. It's the world's most democratic language, as I like to say. Every word, every rule, every change was decided by a community of speakers, openly voting online. With just 381 words, it promises to be simple, neutral, and practical. And today we're going to see whether that all is true. History. Kokanu began as Tokima, a spin-off of Tokipona, a so-called Tokiponido. Like many conlangs, it started with a single creator, Shevik Orasti. But over time it changed hands, evolved to different groups and finally turned into something unique. A language not guided by one person but steered by quite a large group of people for conlang standards. The most popular era was the time of the Council, a group of 8 people from which only Jan Sewi aka Def Bali and I stuck around until the end. Together we finished the alpha version. Sewi made a full PDF course, we produced a video course, and Tor made a web course. But nothing much happened and interest faded. The turning point came when Mr. Crasher K and others launched a new reformation on a new Discord server. Instead of one leader dictating the changes, the project settled into a democratic system. 4 experienced managers, Sewi, Tor, Bigley and me, helped organize, but the decisions came from open ballots. That process gave the language a new identity and a new name, Kokanu, from Tekota Kanu Sen, meaning to talk with each other. A fitting name for a language literally built by talking things out. Kokanu officially uses 2 scripts. The Latin script, with some letters missing, and Likanu, an abugida where consonants are base letters and vowels are modifiers. Likanu is written left to right, has no caps, and uses angle brackets for names. Consonants include p, t, k, w, l, y, m, n, s, ch, h, plus a special no consonant symbol. The vowels are a, e, I, o, u. There's also Kokanu-style punctuation and even a handy web tool that converts back and forth between Latin and Likanu. Compared to most mini-langs, the choice to include an affricative ch and a voiceless fricative h is quite special. Poor Frenchies will have problems pronouncing authentic baguette. Sito chohi hakiki. Kokanu's grammar is surprisingly flexible. It has 3 word order. Subject first is recommended but not required because Kokanu doesn't rely on position for meaning. Instead, it relies on markers, except when it relies on position for meaning. Think of them like little name tags that say, "Hi, I'm the subject. Hi, I'm the object. Hi, I'm the tool." So as long as the roles are marked, you can shuffle the sentence around and it still works. First, verbs. Le marks a normal statement, o marks commands, suggestions, directive. So, mile makan is I eat, o makan is eat, or you should eat. Next, the subject marker. Men marks a subject, but if the subject comes first, you can often drop men to keep things clean, or unclean. Then the other big ones are in, which marks the object, ki marks the recipient or goal, and via marks the instrument or tool, kind of like with using via in English. So you can build meaning like Lego, subject, verb, object, goal, tool, except you're allowed to rearrange all of these building blocks. Now for the next tidbit, Kokanu's particles. No negates a marker, and this is important, it negates what it's attached to. So the difference is mile no makan in kuwosi, I don't eat fruit, and mile makan in no kuwosi, I eat no fruit. Same words, different attachment. Totally different meaning, kinda. Un joins phrases or sentences like and. Ta and te make clauses. If you want a mental shortcut, te is like to and ta is like that. Hon is the context marker for time, topic, conditions. If you know Tokipona, it's like la, but it's also different. Example, hontenelo tonight. Ka is the yes-no question particle. It's basically a spoken question mark. And la adds emphasis, just like a in Tukipona or Tukima. Modifiers always come after the thing they modify. But here's something neat or terrifying. Kokanu splits what English might express with of or Tukipona with p into two different tools, ye and wa. This might look terrifying at first, but is quite logical after you've tried it yourself, though I'm still struggling. Ye only groups the nearest chunk, basically like of. Insuye makan, building of food, aka restaurant. Wa applies to the whole preceding phrase, so compare these two statements. Hint, chenpo means big. Insuye makan chenpo, insuye makan wa chenpo. One means building of big food, like a super-sized fast food restaurant, and the other one is big building of food, a big restaurant. Think of it like two different brackets in math. Also, ye force is the noun version, so insu ye chempo would mean building of bigness instead of insu chempo, big building, which means you need to combine ye and wa for some compounds where the vocab is not the wanted part of speech. One example includes yan yenaki wa ye insu ye makan, restaurant bathroom, place of cleanliness, of building of food. Causative. One of the biggest changes in Kokanu's grammar is the causative marker, lun. This lets you xify y. For example, mile lun hunsi in lantan, I make the car red, or, well, I paint the car red. The tense aspect in mood. By default, Kokanu's sentences are tenseless. Context usually does the work, but if you need precision, you can add adverbs. Matin for past, kensha for present, melon for future. There are aspect helpers too, like choncha for ongoing. So you can go from I speak now, I'm speaking, I will be speaking, mi likota kensha, mi likota choncha, mi likota choncha melon, without turning the language into a verb conjugation spreadsheet. Though here's the spreadsheet. Vocabulary. Okay, quick democracy check. Should we add a new word right now? Great. Now, imagine waiting 2 weeks, reading 10 paragraphs of justification, most people arguing without knowing what they talk about, and someone replying with a single reaction emoji. That's Kokanu development. Kokanu's lexicon is tiny, just 381 entries. That's about 3 times as many as Tokipona and double what Tokima had. But here's what makes Kokanu truly democratic. Each word's etymology is drawn proportionally from world languages, keeping the vocabulary as culturally neutral as possible. And nothing gets added lightly. Every new word, every grammar change, every tiny tweak all go through a community vote. It's like the world's most democratic dictionary. Open ballots, Discord reaction, long debates, rationals, justifications, every detail gets discussed before it's accepted. That's why development took years, but also why it feels so fair. Kokanu's rules even read like a law textbook. There are 6 principles in total. The big 3 are neutrality, minimalism, and practicality. The other 3 are vocabulary rules. The normal clause. If a necessary concept cannot be precisely expressed, Kokanu needs the words to cover it. The compound clause. If a long compound gets used often enough, vocabulary should simplify it. The atokanti clause. If the existing word is technically correct but doesn't reflect how people actually see a concept, it needs to be fixed. Example, a moving room isn't a car for most people, so word for vehicle car is needed. You can argue about the principles or their order, but what matters is they were written down, followed, and upheld. Before we come to the conclusion, a few examples. Mile makan, I eat. Mile makan in kuwosi, I eat fruit. Mile lun tajali in makan huyamoto, I cook food using fire. Oteni intalili chempo malu kitasuilo ne. Give a thumbs up, literally big up finger, to this video, literally moving picture. Mile nante makan inapaki, mile no tonko nenkana. I can eat glass, it does not hurt me. So, is Kokanu good? Well, it's stable now, guaranteed until 2026. Its vocabulary is tiny but precise. Sometimes it can sound a bit technical, but as Shevik Wadasti once said, every understandable Kokanu is correct Kokanu. In practice, you can often drop words and still be understood, and it definitely has nothing to do with Tokipona anymore, except maybe 5 shared words like one, o, mi, mani, lipu. Kokanu feels like the teenager version of an international language, and I'd love to see it grow up. The documentation is still technical, as well as the dictionary, but if someone makes a proper course, it could become a lot more accessible. Take latan, to ride. As a noun, it can mean a ride or a vehicle, but I need to know the vocabulary thoroughly to translate train as latan laki. Until then, Kokanu stands as a proof that the language can be made by a group without resulting in chaos. And it feels so different from other constructed languages. I quite enjoy it. It's not just minimalistic, logical, yet hopefully practical, but maybe the world's most democratic language. Peko!